With the NFL season being right around the corner, I'm going to give you my full NFL predictions for this year. Now, quick rundown. I'm going to go conference by conference, give you the teams that make the playoffs and in which seeding. And then I will give you my conference championship predictions, Super Bowl prediction, and then the Super Bowl MVP. So starting off in the NFC, I have the Packers at the 7th seed. Now, 7th seed was one of the harder seeds to predict because I saw the Packers, the Bears, and there's a couple of the teams that I had that could have made it, like the Rams. Yes, the Rams are off this list. The Rams, Seahawks. Any of the four could have been number 7, the 7th seed. But I think the Packers, they make it in there based on what they proved last year. But I don't see them being at the top of the tier yet, being able to compete really for a Super Bowl this year. I think they're there because of the 7th seed again. That's just there like last year. But now 6th seed, I have a surprise team, the Commanders. I think the Commanders are going to be a surprise team like the Texans last year. Because they did have Jaden Daniels. So that's a new quarterback right there. They have a really good wide receiver. And Terry McLaurin. Now, they did lose Jahan Dotson, but they got a new center, Tyler Biotish. Their defense acquisitions, they got like Dorance Armstrong already on that pretty good defense. Now, and Dan Quinn being there, I think he's a big upgrade for their head coaching. And I think they could just surprise a lot of people because, maybe some teams might be overlooking them and they could shock maybe even the Cowboys or the Eagles, take a game from them. Now, 5th seed, I have the Eagles. Which means I do have the Cowboys repeating and breaking the NFC East curse of consecutive winning the division consecutive times. But the Eagles, I think their defense again is a bit suspect. Like the past 2 years, their secondary isn't the best right now. But their offense acquisition of Saquon Barkley, Jahan Dotson, they're having the best wide receiving corps. If you didn't see the rank of the wide receiving corps, check out the previous podcast. I ranked all the wide receiving corps. But with the number one wide receiving corps, they should have a really potent offense. But I don't think their defense can stand up and support the offense like they're supposed to, or for them to make Super Bowl run. So that's why I have the Cowboys winning. Now, before the Cowboys, the 4th seed, I have the Falcons. I think like a very consensus pick to win the South this year is the Falcons. Of course, Kirk Cousins, and then they're already really good offensive talents. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. They should have a really potent offense. And the reason why they'll be the 4th seed is I think they'll even have a worse record than the Commanders. Because I think you only need about 9 wins. Maybe even 8 wins might be able to win this division. The division isn't too good. Panthers aren't going to do too much. Saints aren't going to do too much. The only real competition is the Buccaneers. And they had Baker. Baker, I don't think he's going to be able to reproduce like he did last year. So I think it's by de facto we have to pick the Falcons to make it. And this could be like another scenario where 2020 NFC East, or even like 2 years ago, where you can just have a losing record and win this division. But 3rd seed, I have the Cowboys. Now, the reason why I have the Cowboys winning it over the Eagles is because I think Dak is in a prove it year. Even if he won't get a contract with the Cowboys, he wants to show something, and he might, want to play his best so he can get a better deal with a different team. Now, I think Dak is going to stay with the Cowboys, but that's like a later topic. He might re-sign later on after playoffs, something like that. And they did re-sign CeeDee Lamb, and they do have most of their pieces back. Trayvon Diggs is back. Now Deron Bland is gone, but the rookie cornerback Mike McCarthy has said only good things about him so far. And now Zeke, Dalvin Cook. Now Zeke is probably washed a bit, and we need to see how Dalvin Cook is. He might be washed too. So they're gonna have to go running. The running group will be by committee pretty much. The run attack. But that's why I have them over the Eagles, because I think they have a really good defense to support their really good offense, as they have been leading scorer 2 out of the last 3 years. So their offense shouldn't be a problem. Now, number 2 seed, I have the 49ers. And 49ers, it's kind of obvious why. They just have a lot more talent than any other team in their division. And most of the conference, really, their real only like setback or their weak point is at quarterback. Brock Purdy, we don't know. Again, he had one full season, but is it because he's good, or is it because he has all these pieces here for him? We saw Trent Williams go down last year, a couple games. They lost 3 games in a row when he wasn't there. So if like some players get injured, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, one of them gets injured, maybe even 2 of them at a time, I don't know how Brock Purdy's going to be able to do without those pieces there for him. So we need to see how that will work out. Maybe that might happen this year. And so then the 1 seed, I have the Lions. I see them replicating what they did last year. They didn't get worse. They only got better. I see big step up for Amon-Ra. Jared Goff, he's in the midst of his prime right now. So Jahmyr Gibbs, their defense is really good. They nothing like bad to say about them. Really good coach, Dan Campbell. So I think they're gonna be the 1 seed and just have home field throughout the whole playoffs. Now moving on to the AFC. AFC again. The number 7 seed was pretty hard. I had to choose between 3 teams again. But I'm gonna go with the Jets. Now the Jets, they could be higher, but I just don't know like how well Aaron Rodgers is gonna play. If Aaron Rodgers is gonna play at all, he might get injured. We don't know. And I think I'm projecting the Jets to be 7 seed because Aaron Rodgers might play most of the season, get injured towards the end of the season, and the Jets might fall off a bit. Because I think you have to account for a possible injury of Aaron Rodgers, and that's why they're 7 seed. Now 6 seed might be a bit shocking, but I have the Texans. So the Texans, they did get better, yes, but I feel like everyone around the division also got better. For the Colts, their quarterback came back. Jaguars, same thing. Their quarterback came back. He's healthy now. And Texans, I feel like this could be just like a one-time thing. I need to see consistency from the Texans still. Yes, 1 year, CJ Stroud. But again, we saw that from Baker Mayfield, 2nd year, 3rd year, and we haven't seen too much from him after that. So if he can do this again for 1 more year, then I think Super Bowl aspirations next year, or even this year, if he proves me wrong this year. But I don't see that happening. So 5th seed, I have the Bengals. Now, yes, Burrow's back, but I don't see the Bengals contending with the Ravens just yet. Ravens, they just got Derrick Henry, which I think makes them a lot better than the Bengals right now. And they were really good last year as well. And I think they're gonna have to put the chip on their shoulder now, because they need to beat the Chiefs. Like week 1 is a very testing week for them if they can beat the Chiefs or not. And I think that's gonna shape up how their whole season is gonna go on and proceed. So I think the Chiefs are at utmost importance for them. But the Bengals, they got Joe Burrow back. They have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. If Joe Burrow can be healthy most of the season again, I think they're a lock to make the playoffs essentially. 4th seed, I have the Dolphins. The Dolphins, their whole division is really hard this year. Last year, they lucked out with the Jets. With Aaron Rodgers being injured, Zach Wilson having to step up for him. So I think they might lose a game to the Jets this year. And Patriots, I don't think the Patriots probably 2 easy games. Patriots, they might go from a dynasty to the 3rd ever 0-7, or the 1st ever 0-17 team actually. But third winless team. And that's how bad I think they are. And they're starting Jacoby Brissett. They traded away their best defensive player, Matt Judon. So it's not looking too good for the Patriots. Number 3, this is another surprise team, the Colts. They were 1 if they beat the Texans last year at the very end, they would have made the playoffs. And now they have Anthony Richardson back for the full year. I feel like what I saw from him the first 2-3 games he played was really, really good. They beat the Ravens, and Ravens are going to be above them, or they went to conference championship last year. So with Anthony Richardson back, Jonathan Taylor being healthy, Michael Pittman, I think that trio is going to be really, really good for them. So another surprise team, or a sneaky team. I won't say surprise team because I don't think people are going to overlook the Colts this year, but they're going to be a lot better than what a lot of people are going to think about them. And I have them winning the division and third seed. Second seed, I have the Ravens. The Ravens, they also have a very, very hard division. I think the hardest division is the NFC North. NFC North, probably the hardest division. Most competitive might be AFC North or NFC South, just because how bad the Panthers are and quite possibly the Saints. So it might be like another thug it out kind of division, NFC South and NFC North. NFC South and AFC North. The Browns are there, Steelers. They don't go under 500, so that's like they could be a bottom team and still be really tough for opponents to take on. The Ravens, they just have a hard division, but I do like their wide receivers. Of course, Lamar and Derrick Henry, and that leaves the Chiefs number 1 seed. Nothing to say about them really. They're just going for a three-peat, and they could be the first team ever to three-peat. Okay, so now my conference game predictions. In the AFC, I have Ravens-Chiefs rematch. At this time, I think it goes differently. Ravens go to Arrowhead, and they beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead to make to the Super Bowl this year. The Ravens, I think they will be much improved. They will learn from their mistakes last year. They'll run the ball more. And the Chiefs, I feel like they need more motivation to make it through the regular season and the playoffs, because I think their minds will be in the Super Bowl too much. Of course, three-peat, a lot of pressure, and no team has ever done that. So I think conference championship is where they end this time. On the NFC, I have the Lions and the Cowboys. Lions, yeah, I think the 49ers, I feel like the 49ers are going to lose to the Packers first round. This could be somewhat of a bias kicking in from last year. Cowboys lost to Packers. But I think after the 49ers get eliminated, it's kind of clear that the remaining 2 best teams, Lions and Cowboys, should make the conference championship game. And Lions are going to beat the Cowboys there. Cowboys fold under pressure. So it's going to be Lions, Ravens, Super Bowl. And the winner for this year's Super Bowl is going to be the Ravens. Ravens over Lions, 34-30. So the Ravens, and my MVP, Super Bowl MVP, is going to be Lamar, and my regular season MVP back-to-back. Lamar is going to go back-to-back. He's going to have 3 MVPs. He's going to lock in a Hall of Fame. He's going to have Hall of Fame resume. He's going to be a surefire Hall of Famer after this year with his 3rd MVP and a Super Bowl. Nothing bad to say about Lamar after this year. So I think the Ravens, they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. 3rd time Super Bowl champs.